Hello, welcome to Card Talk. I'm Brobnar89.
I'm Shaka.
Today we're going to be taking a look at Final Analysis. This is a common action card, and it reads, play, destroy each creature. Each player draws a card for each creature they controlled that was destroyed this way. This is a very interesting board wipe. A lot of board wipes, you pay a price. Like you think about Gateway to Disc, you destroy everything, but you take those chains. With this one, you're paying a price in that your opponent could potentially draw a huge number of cards. So you might need to be very careful about if you play this and when you play it. On the other hand, if you play it when you have a bunch of creatures out and your opponent does not, you draw a huge number of cards, which is kind of a mixed bag. Like you are wasting your board, but you get to draw a huge hand. So it's definitely going to be a very, very situational card.
Yeah, it is pretty situational, and I think it's going to lead to some interesting games. It doesn't seem like a great catch-up mechanism. Like you destroy each creature, and then let's say they were way ahead on the board, then they have a huge hand. They're going to hit you with it next turn. Whereas if you have a huge board, you can use some of the creatures on the board. Maybe they're not that valuable. And then you're drawing many cards, and then potentially you're drawing into Data Forge or something like that. And this card is a common. If it comes in multiples, I think you could run into some pretty broken configurations, because like if I have 3 of these and 9 creatures, let's say, I blow up my stuff, I'm drawing more creatures, I play them, I blow them up, and I'm like redrawing into the creatures and into Final Analysis, and like just end up with the entire deck in your hand, I think, in certain cases.
Yeah.
Well, I hope this card is limited to 1, because I think there's more than 1. You could run into some pretty messed up stuff on the offensive side, where you're playing your Logos creatures over and over. So I think it's a pretty interesting trade-off. You know, if the board is roughly even, you do get the advantage of having those extra cards in your hand and setting up your board first with no chains. So that is quite nice. And yeah, just because I have 4 creatures and you have 2, maybe your 2 creatures are like really good and they must go.
Yeah.
So I'll blow up my people and take 4 cards. That's fine.
That's true. You're benefited from having a couple of not so great creatures on the board, a couple infomorphs or something that you're not too worried about blowing up. I think this card will do particularly well against Worlds Collide, where if your opponent has a giant warded board, you can play this card and pop all those wards and not give your opponent the benefit of drawing a bunch of cards, but making their board a little bit weaker. And then you might be able to follow up with some more targeted spot removal.
Yeah, that sounds pretty nice.
All right. That is Final Analysis. This has been Card Talk. Come back tomorrow for another look at another card.